So welcome, Mridula.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me here.
It's my pleasure. You're doing some great stuff, and I see you all the time on LinkedIn, and you're really being an active voice for change, and I really admire that. So thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
You're awesome. Now you're doing a stack of stuff, so let's just chip our way through it, all right? Because you're the founder of Gabisplice, and I hope I'm saying that right. You're the founder of the Plantterra. You are a climate activist, you're a community organizer, and you're striving for gender equality. So plus a ton of other things. You're doing a ton of volunteering and all sorts of stuff, and you're an athlete and you name it, right? You just don't stop. I don't know how you've got the energy. I want to start with the gender activists. So gender equality activists. So why is that so important to you? I mean, that's an obvious answer, but like, how old are you?
I'm 16 years old.
16, yeah. So a lot of people don't find their voice, even till they're later in their years, and then they sort of experience a lot of gender equality, and then they speak up. But you're speaking right out now. And by the way, Mridula is from India, so I'm actually finding a lot of people from India who are very, very active in social change, and I really, really love it. Really love it. Gender equality. Why? What's your bugbear with it? Obvious answer, but let's hear you.
Yeah, so just getting equal rights, really, because you know, uh, we have potential enough to do certain works as well, and we need to have the fair recognition for the works that we do. So that's majorly the reason.
Yeah. And do you have being a young female, have you encountered much gender bias or gender inequality?
I wouldn't say much, but um, yeah, I wouldn't say that much, really.
Yeah, you go to a pretty good school too. You're doing doing a lot of great stuff, and you're very privileged, let's say, to go to a great school. What about some of the young girls in India who are not so fortunate? Who are living in even living in poverty, or at least living a poor lifestyle. Do you think they're worse off regarding gender inequality?
So I believe there'll be a lot more gender inequality when it comes to uh, people who are living in poverty, because oftentimes it's like, okay, you just do the home work, nothing else.
Yeah.
Or at least it's not just in the media, but really everywhere. And it was normal until very few years to have child marriage and everything. So yeah, it hasn't been like we haven't got to a point that everything is equal yet, but we are getting to it. So there is some good progress.
Yeah. But we're not even there in highly developed countries. There's still like Australia, America, England, like there's still such a big gap. And you're absolutely right when you say anything the guys can do, we can do just as well, and we should be recognized for it. And I think, yeah, and it just kind of like, what I find is what happens is that we react to it. So a lot of this stuff happens, and then most people react and say, hey, wait a minute, this isn't fair. Whereas we should be doing what you're doing and being proactive at the start, and trying to actually prevent it. So well done to you for trying to prevent it, because it shouldn't exist. It just shouldn't exist. So good on you. Now you use tech, like you're really big on tech. So why? What do you love about technology?
Sorry, there was internet cut off.
Oh, that's okay. Probably mine. I said you're really big on technology and using technology as a platform. Why technology? Like, what is that? How did you get into that? Why do you love it so much?
Okay, so technology majorly because probably I studied a curriculum where I have to do my own research to actually get the concept, both IGCSE and IB. It's more of like only when we self-study, apart from the school hours, only then you could get the concept, the actual concept. So that's where I initially got into technology. And on the move, I just realized how much of a powerful tool technology is because it doesn't have any restrictions. You could go worldwide with contacting people, reaching out to them, getting the organizations out there. The possibilities are just endless. So that's how I got into technology. And as I started the Plantterra, uh, it was hard to utilize at the beginning, but once I started to get the hang of it, magic started happening. There was so many new contacts that I got, and especially during the COVID period, we majorly relied on technology for everything, for contacting loved ones, for contacting new people, for getting new friends, because yeah, we did not have much things to do during COVID, so we just wanted to engage ourselves with something else, and that's when I got full into technology. So yeah, that's about it.
Well, I love it. So you have, like, you use it as a platform for gender equality, for education, for environmental change. Like you're really, I guess, really utilizing it to the full. You know, really work. But one of the things that you've done is that you're the founder of Gabisplice. Is what am I saying that right?
Yeah,
Gabisplice.
that's perfect.
Perfect. All right, good. And so, you know, that's a technology, that's an app. So tell us about that. Like, did you design it? Where did the idea come from? What does it do? All that stuff.
So Gabisplice is a relatively new initiative when compared with Plantterra because Plantterra was started in 2021 and Gabisplice had just initiated it at the beginning of this year. So Gabisplice is a platform that is aimed to bridge the gap between international curriculums and their delivery of education because oftentimes, although international curriculums have just so much potential, it isn't delivered equally around the globe. It's major because of the geographical standards, the teacher-student mindset. There are just so many factors. So there isn't a very particular way that we can um, solve this entire problem. However, we can minimize it to a certain extent, and that's what Gabia's Plus aims to do. So with the international curriculums, we just want to create resources for students around the globe without any inequality in the delivery of the particular resource. So it will be something where uh, the resources will be given by the teachers, and with the students, us will be converting it into certain forms because when the students do it, we know where we feel like it could have been better. Oh, this point could have been explained this way. We know where the lack points are because we have went through the particular curriculum. So the resources will be given by professionals with so many years experience, and we will be converting those resources into videos, audios, notes, and all such things. And most educational initiatives out there, they rely mostly on uh, external uh, resources, I would say, because uh, they mostly link to some other website or some other platform for particular things. Like for quiz, they would link to somewhere else. For um, exam style questions, somewhere else. But we aim to do everything. So every single resource a student needs to, uh, excel a particular curriculum. We'll be having it all in one place with possible affiliation with the exam boards. So that's our aim for the Gabisplice.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's still in development at the moment. So
Yeah, still in the ideation stage.
yeah, that's fantastic. And so will it be an app on your phone, or will it be a website, or both? Like it'll just
It
be
will be both. We'll be having both in publication and mobile application.
That's fantastic. And so that if so that means someone from another country who doesn't have good access to education or doesn't have good education, they can get on that app and they can learn an international curriculum.
very much. And they can, and most international curriculums do have the option to take exams in private by us studying by ourselves.
Yeah.
Indeed, for my IGCSE exam, due to the COVID situation, I completely self-studied and wrote my exam as a private candidate. So when the situations are not uh, completely, up to the mark, they could actually self-study without much of dependence on anything else. If they really have the interest, they could. So uh, our platform will act as a supporting thing for that.
That's fantastic. And so is it accredited? So like will they be able to get the same level of qualification by being on your platform?
Actually, no. It's more like a platform where they can learn. So for
Yeah.
the exams, they have to reach out to the actual exam board. So there are a lot of exam centers for IGCSE and IB starting private exams this year as well, I believe. So yeah, there has been a lot of you know, accessibility insurance that has been happening. So yeah, they
Wow.
can't get qualification from the app, but they could learn everything that they require.
That's fantastic. Who are you doing that with? Is there a group of you doing that or just you or?
Yes, I'm doing it with a few of my friends from around 10 countries.
Wow,
So we're working as a group.
that's amazing. So they're all putting in their bits, all their expertise from where they're from, and you build. That's one hell of a job. That's a big job you're doing there.
Thank you very much.
That's huge. That's well, I think it's fantastic. So when will it be ready? When do you reckon? Like I know I'm not going to hold you to it, but just give us a rough by the end of the year, or is it probably another year away or?
Actually, we're planning on end of the year, so we're working towards it. Possibly the beta version or like the second beta version will be released by end of the year.
Wow, that's fantastic. I keep saying that's fantastic because I just can't. I love saying that word. Wow, that's fantastic. I reckon I've
I
got the
love
best
that.
job. I've got the best job in the world because I get to listen to so many great people, and all I can say is, "Wow, that's fantastic." I reckon
That's amazing.
I do have the best job in the world. So, you've mentioned the Plantterra, quite a few times, but let's start moving into that. You have a real environmental passion, and I like most young people, which is fantastic because if we don't get on top of this, we're in a lot of trouble. And the younger generation is the generation that really is driving change. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that you make it in time. But yeah, I know it's a big job. So you're really passionate about that. You're a climate change activist. And as we said, the founder of the Plantterra. What is the Plantterra?
The Plantterra is an organization with a mission to educate every individual about the seriousness of climate change and encourage them to take on the role of saving the environment. So that is our mission, and we have various platforms through which we aim to accomplish this mission. So we conduct events, which are mostly um, conducted by team members from the respective countries, the live events. So since we have presence in over 15 countries and we are still growing with the recruitment process, a particular member would take the responsibility for a particular month to conduct a live event in their country. And this happens throughout the 15 countries that we're present in. And we also have virtual events which happen without any geographical restrictions. So the events are mostly like hands-on events where we do something for the environment, we get hands-on, and
Yeah.
we have educational events which are something like just letting know people about the seriousness of climate change. And then we have competition-like events. So our very first event indeed was a competition, an art competition, Art for the Terra, which was a digital art competition. People submitted their digital artwork on environmental issues. So those are the event formats, and we have an app that's currently under development as well. It's in the final stage of development, and our app will act as a platform where people could show their contributions to the environment.
Wow.
So when someone is doing something that could potentially have benefits to the environment, they could just simply take a photo or video of them doing such thing and post it into a app, and we'll be ensuring that this very specific photo or video is authentic, and we'll be allocating them a certain amount of virtual points called Terra points. And as this Terra points grow, it's saved in somewhat called Terra Bank. So as the Terra points in Terra Bank grows, there is this avatar that hatches from an egg and grows bigger. And this avatar is a combination of species that are currently endangered or went extinct due to climate change and human activities. And we'll be also having leaderboards where people could see their contributions in regards to others of their age or location. And we'll be also having an option to redeem those virtual coins as offers for real-time purchases. So when they're buying something, they could use our coins to get some offers for that, for some sort of gift cards, cashbacks, and all such things. And these offers would be higher when they're buying something eco-friendly. This way, we're also promoting the choice of eco-friendly products. So it's overall a game-like experience while someone is doing something to save the environment.
Wow. Wow. Where do you come up with these ideas?
To be honest, it's just random hope of new features that come into my mind. About the Plantterra's plan, it came. I wanted to start something for a cause that I valued. So that's how the Plantterra was initiated from with some newly found friends back in 2021. So I was just like, okay, this is Plantterra. What we're going to do? We're going to educate individuals. How we're going to do? And I was just thinking about it and sleeping, and it was in the middle of the night that I got this idea. So yeah, that's how I got this idea.
Well, that's amazing. So when you say events all around the world, so how many countries do you have people in? Like whereabouts are they placed around the world at the minute? Because it'll grow.
Around 15 to 20 countries. I guess at the moment it's 18 countries. And we're recruiting continuously. It's on a rolling basis. So we get new members from new countries very frequently. So we aim to have members around the world working towards climate actions.
Wow, that's fantastic. And what's the barrier to, why do you think some young people want to be really active? I know all young people are concerned about the climate crisis, right? They all are. Some take action and some don't. What do you think, the ones that are taking action, what do you think is the motivator for them to be active, like to actively do something? What do you think drives them to that?
Yeah, the reason from everyone I've met for the Plantterra scene, it varies from person to person. For instance, for me, it was my enthusiasm towards nature, animals, and the entire ecosystem, how the world works, and all such things that brought me into the interest towards climate change, not just climate change, but environment in general, and just knowing that our actions are indeed destructing all those beauty. I just wanted to do something, so that's why I wanted to do. And few people are like, okay, there are a lot of pollution in my area, and it's not good for human health as well. So I wanted to do something about that. Yeah, few other people are like, there are a lot of illegal deforestation or illegal trading of animal parts that are happening. So I want to do something about that. So there are just various reasons why people get into it. But when it comes down to one thing, to save Terra for next generations, it's everyone wanted to do that. So that's something everything boils down to.
Save the planet. Yeah. Well, I hope you make it, but I reckon you will. I reckon we're going to reach a tipping point because I keep seeing so many young people taking even just small amounts of action. And I'm a big believer in a lot of small actions can make one massive impact. So
Very true.
yeah, so good on you. And the more people you can inspire to take action, even in the smallest way, the closer we're going to come to a tipping point where the world's in a, well, I don't know, if a better state. One's going to be in a better state, but we've got to save it. Like I think we get we for some reason forget that there's no planet B. We can't just fly off to Mars or bloody Venus or something and go, oh well, we buggered up Earth, so we'll just go somewhere else. And you know, I don't understand personally. I don't understand the apathy, you know, toward changing the world or supporting the planet. I don't understand it, but anyway, it is what it is, and I just think that everybody should chip in, and thank God you are. Like, thank you for what you're doing. Appreciate it very much.
Glad to have all such supports, because these supports are the ones that keep us going.
Thank you. Well, I try to support as much as I can, as much as I can. So you are also an active athlete and a volunteer. So, and you're part of a team. You're part of a team that runs events, and this your project or whatever it is, or your program is called I Believe. And so, what's that?
Yeah, that's indeed was the starting point of everything that I'm into at the moment. So in 2021, around July, no, in 2021 beginning, January, I came across something like this, I believe, which was a community for IB students around the world. And I joined the community, and around in the next few months in June, I joined the team, the video team, and that's why I got so much uh, exposure to various cultures, various people. I just had so many, amazing memories with bunch of amazing people. So I was in the video team for around an year, just editing videos for, I believe, YouTube channel, and then I moved to the events team, just for a change. So over there, we conduct events to IB students to get more idea about IB, because it's a complicated curriculum to understand the basics. But once we get what the curriculum is about, everything just gets so much easier. So that's what I believe does to uh, get people know about IB. And we also have some university tips kind of thing as well in the events. So how to get into a particular university, just general tips from actual students from the universities. So we just have a bunch of people from around the world from in various ages. So few people may just start IB, few people may be in pre-IB, few graduates. So we just get various perspectives into everything we do, and I believe it was founded by two amazing people called Katie and Emotion. Um, Katie is like a Cornell graduate, and Imogen is an Oxford graduate. They graduated this year, I believe. So, yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah. So, do you in there you were saying something? You were saying it sounded like IB. Were you saying IB or were you saying I believe?
IB. So IB is the curriculum, which is International Baccalaureate, and I believe is an organization that kind of has IB students.
I
kind
thought
of
that's
students.
Yeah, I thought that's what you were saying, but then I didn't know what IB standard for. But you're absolutely right, and that is the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program. So yes, and for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's sort of high achievers, high intellect, you know, like that kind of. Am I right? That's what I think it is.
Actually, it's like just like any other curriculum, like A level. It's equivalent to A level. It's a hard program, but if you have the dedication, it's a fun one. So yeah, there are a lot of aspects that makes it look tiring. Like, apart from the subjects, we choose 6 subjects. 3 are HLs and 3 are SLs. HLs are higher levels and SLs are standard levels. And few people take 4 HLs and risk their life, like myself. So I took 4 HLs. But yeah, it works in a way that we have these 6 subjects. We have something called extended essay, which we write 3,000 word essay on a particular topic on a chosen subject. And then we have IAs for every subject, which is internal assessments. So we do some sort of experimental research kind of thing, and we write a paper kind of thing for that. And then we have TOK, which is another subject kind of thing, apart from the 6 subjects, theory of knowledge. And we have CAS, which is creativity, activity, and service. So in that, we just engage our creative aspects or activity aspects. So when we're doing something like volunteering in an old age home, that comes into service. And when we're doing something like crocheting, it comes into creativity. And it's just engaging various aspects of ourselves into the program. That's what IB is.
Well, I love that. I love that. So it's kind of an advanced level. It's kind of like extra curriculum, isn't it? But at an advanced level.
Not exactly extracurriculum,
Oh,
because this is the one that we study for the next 2 years. So
yeah.
this is the complete program, but these are very much essential. The other 4 aspects I said about the CAS, TOKE, and IA, these literally hold the marks for the final exam. So we are marked out of 45, and 3 points go for the extended essay and TOK. And only if we pass CAS, we'll be passing the role. If we fail CAS, although we took 45 in the exam, if we fail CAS, the entire diploma is gone. And then we have the IAs, which actually hold marks within the subject. So biology has a particular marks are allocated for IAs. So chemistry has like such, and every other subject. So that's how it works. So every aspect is very much essential to get the final diploma at the end of the second year.
Right. Well, I didn't quite get it right, but all I can say is it's bloody good. So it's bloody good what you're doing, and that's terrific. So you mentioned in there about volunteering. So volunteering is part of that. Do you think that volunteering has decreased or increased? Do you think that people are way more interested now or way less interested since COVID?
I would say more interested, because I'm not sure whether people's empathy level got higher or whether they're actually getting the knowledge. I'd say they're getting the knowledge of everything that's happening around them, because, yeah, of course, internet technology, we're exposed to so much of knowledge. And a lot of people with their knowledge want to create some change. And yeah, I say volunteering comes down to that.
So you're talking more about young people, aren't you?
Not just young people, everyone, because everyone who uses technology are exposed to such knowledge, and they just wanted to create a change. It may be like, for some people it may seem small, for some people it may seem big, but every change is indeed a change. So everyone is just interested to do something, but most do not get that particular channel to do that, or they don't have the particular knowledge on what to do. But with those two, they could just do amazing things. So that's what is the thing, I believe.
I think that's great. I think the thing is that a lot of people don't know where to start, so they don't start. They just think, well, nothing I can do, but it's actually incorrect that if we can do something, we're going to make a difference. So I think that's, it's amazing that you're seeing an increase, because I was worried that volunteering was going down. So if you're saying it's going up, and that might just be what you're seeing because you're focused on it, but what's good about that is that I'm hearing that volunteering is still very active. It's still there. It's still moving. We're in a good place. So that's good. How do you reckon we could encourage people to volunteer more? I know you're saying, they can get on the technology, they can read the research, but what's that thing? So even if we read that information and really understand it, we still might not be driven to make change. How can we encourage people to actually do something once they've got that information?
Just doing one thing for once, it's going to be a huge thing, because just seeing the smile on other people's face because we did something good for them, that itself is such a fulfilling emotion, and people will want more of that emotion. Once they do one thing for once, they would just wanted to do it for how much ever they could. So just get your minds, get your minds out there. Just for once, just go out there and do something. And once you start doing, you couldn't get out of it. So that's kind
Yeah.
of how it works. But really, the curriculums are encouraging all such volunteering activities like how IB does. It's kind of a huge thing for as well for young minds because uh, although initially they might feel like, oh, that's out of curriculum, that is out of syllabus, why should I do that? Once they start to do, they have that realization, oh my gosh, IB has transformed me to a person I am truly. Like that realization, it hits different. So
Yeah.
yeah, just and of course a lot of universities expect for volunteering things. So when someone is so interested in a particular university that they just want to get in, and their university requirements say volunteering is appreciated, they get into volunteering for the university sake initially. But once they actually get into volunteering, their heart and soul is invested into it. So it's kind of like the way they're driven, not just because of the university. Maybe that may be the initial reason, but after that, it's just completely out of their interest.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's nothing nicer than that feeling inside, when you help someone. And it's interesting you say about that they just first do it to get into a university and that kind of stuff. But what's very interesting is that it's a well-known fact that universities and employers love to see volunteering on your resume. Like if you've got volunteering on your resume, on your CV, whatever you want to call it, you're in a much better position than if you haven't. People appreciate it because they feel like you're a reliable, person, and plus you've got strong character. I'm not saying that those who don't volunteer don't have those things, but I'm just saying how it's interpreted by people who want to bring you on board. So yeah, I think it's wonderful. Now you've got, speaking of feeling good, right? You've got aspirations to be a doctor, and so now you can make people feel good medically, and just and make yourself feel good because you're just happy all the time. But how much do you think what you're doing is going to help you as a doctor when you do become a doctor?
So undoubtedly, my interest towards environment, sciences, and arts, which is one of my other major focus areas, something I love to do, arts and crafts. These three things, the science, environment, and arts, has completely shaped my perception towards the medical field because uh, everything we do to the environment is connected to us.
Yeah.
So when we're doing something good, we, we get positive effects within our body.
Yeah.
So when we're doing something bad, negative effects. So everything is connected with the environment and arts, again, the precision and all such things. It's kind of like tied up with certain aspects of medicine, which is like medicine itself and art for well-being. That's how I see it. So that's something, and science is, of course, medicine is a lot of biology and chemistry, which I love. Those are my two favorite subjects. I just adore them so much. So yeah, I just love learning about ourselves and other species around us, other environments. So everything just comes down to that passion of want to become a doctor.
And so you, as a doctor, you're going to be. I'm what I'm hearing is you're going to have a very holistic approach. And more so than giving people drugs to fix a problem, more so talking about how they can look after their well-being. To improve their health. And yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's wait and see. Well, I think it sounds great. What about your art? Tell us about your art.
So truly, I don't have any favorite form or techniques because I just love experimenting with various ones. So at the moment, my favorite is experimenting with color pencils, realism, of course, because that's if when it comes to style, when it comes to painting or drawing, when it comes to the style of those, I I just bend more towards realism and mandala sort of art, which
Oh
is like
yeah.
just using those flowers or such patterns to form the art. So uh, that's the style. But when it comes to mediums, I love experimenting with various ones. So at the moment, it's color pencils, and I'm planning on taking up oil painting as well. But it's kind of like more, it just feels intimidating to start because of the complication with all those mixing procedures, the cleaning process. So I'm just taking some time to get myself mentally ready for that. But yeah, acrylics is something I'm used to, and oil pastels, that's something I'm used to as well. And just pencil, graphite art or charcoal art. And crafts aspect, I love making dream catchers. That's something I love doing. It's just so therapeutic. And then uh, something I'm getting into is crocheting. I used to knit, but then I wanted to do crocheting for some reason. I have no idea why, but I feel more attracted towards crocheting than knitting. So I'm learning crocheting, and I love recycling or upcycling sort of crafts with
Yeah.
old materials, scrap clothes or some sort of plastic materials like plastic bottles, just things that can't be used anymore with land in, oceans or landfalls. I just wanted to transform them into something else nicer. So that's something I do as well. So that's about my arts and craft interest.
What do you convert them into? Plastic bottles. What do you make them into?
So there are just so many things that could be done, like plant pots. It's something that's very simple. The plant pots you could decorate it. That's something like a fun aspect of it. And then, for instance, I have something that I wanted to do soon, which is a turtle using plastic bottles. I got inspiration from Pinterest. Let me just. It's kind of like a geometric turtle. So just cutting the pieces of plastic bottles
Yeah.
and then gluing them together to form a turtle-like shape. And then a lamp with so just keep a light within it to make it a lamp. So that's something I have planned to do. And then just transforming the plastic bottle into decoration items. Major this I used to do these for school because we used to have in my old school, we used to have something called SLCs, which is a student conference. So this happens around a month, and every parents come to school that day, and we just show a presentation on some subject. So for that, we decorate the entire class. Every month we have different themes, and I love these craft aspects. So, I just gather all those materials that are in short, like for instance, we'll have some color papers that are left in shorts, which couldn't be used for anything else because it's in such a small quantity. And I like to transform that into something that is a decor item. Transform all these plastic bottles into some other decoration. So that's something. That's where these recycling things came from.
Wow. I need to ask a question. Where do you get time to do all these things? Because everything you've talked about is like a full-time job. So how do you get time to do everything?
So when it comes to the two organizations I handle, my major focus is on Plantterra, with major efforts on that. I wouldn't say I don't care about Gabisplice at all. I do care about it. It's just I spend more time for the Plantterra. And in Gabisplice, there are two other roles, CHRO and COO, roles who support with other work. So I handle all the legal procedures sort of things, and they handle the other aspects. So that's how in Gabisplice it works. So it doesn't take much of my time. And the rest of the things, school, it's going to start in July 3rd. Until then, I'm on holiday. So I have some extra time in my hands at the moment. And Plantterra, again, it's a group initiative. So it's not just me who's working. There are so many other people who are putting their complete into it. So Plantterra's works, it takes around just one third of my day, and then the rest, one third I would spend on possibly researching something like some medical conditions for the science aspect of my life, because I love just learning about new medical conditions or just medications, learning about them. So I do such sort of researching things, and then the other 1/3 of the day, I either do crafts or just read some book, or it's more like a free time where I just let myself flexible to the work. So it and the rest of the 1/3, at times it's spent in volunteering for the other organizations or like such. So it really depends on the day and how much work the organization or the particular work requires, because from day to day or from month to month, everything varies. So as it's about how much I want to spend on that particular aspect on that particular day. So just getting the priority of the day up, it kind of helps.
Well, you're making me exhausted. I don't, I don't have the energy to keep up with you. I think it's just wonderful. I just love everything that you're doing, and I love that, and even that, I love even you talking about the ideation stage, because there's a lot of people out there who listen to this who have an idea but don't actually haven't quite got the momentum, I guess, or the drive, to actually start it. So you're quite inspirational for those people, because it's if they're listening to you, they're like, oh, I could just get it to that stage. I could just start it, just get it to the ideation stage. And I think that's important, because once we start the ideation stage, we get momentum, and before we know it, we start researching and we start doing things. We bump into people, we start to connect with others that are like-minded. And before we know it, we've actually got something up and running. So, I imagine that you've been very inspirational to some people listening to this who are right at that very edge, right at the very start, who need to get going. And not just that, I mean, you've got so many things that you are already doing, and I think you're just wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you. Now, where can people find you?
So through my LinkedIn, which if they search Mridula Manasvi arcade, my profile will pop up. Or I'm available on Instagram as well at Mridula Manasvi. And yeah, or like email, they can email to the Plantterra if it's Plantterra as well. They can email to Gabisplice if it's Gabisplice related, or they can email to me if they aren't sure about whether it's Plantterra or Gabisplice. So my email ID is mridulamanasvi@gmail.com. So yeah, those are ways people can contact me.
Well, I think the best way to get you is through LinkedIn or Instagram. It's so much quicker and easier. They can just send you a message, and
Very true.
I'll put those links in the show notes so people can reach out to you or connect with you or start following you. Just to see what you're doing. But I think you're wonderful. I'm so happy that you've joined me. And that you've really inspired me. I mean, I'm always inspired. I'm always looking for new things. But you've worn me out. I've got to say that. I don't have as much energy as you anymore. But I absolutely love what you're doing. So keep doing it. Keep changing the world.
Thank you very much.
Well, the world needs you, and it needs all the goodness that you're putting into it. So thank you very much for joining us, and I'm going to keep watching you and keep enjoying all the change you're making. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me, because this sort of supports really, it means so much. So thank you so much for all the words you've given, all those kind words. I'll keep doing my level best in everything I could.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I know you will. I know you will. And my absolute pleasure, because if I can inspire young people, I reckon that's the best use of my time, to be honest. So that's what I think. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks. See ya.
See you. Bye.
Ta-da.